We have a question from Diane Murphy from YouTube. I'll start with you, Andy. Are Tommy Pham and Mark Canha definitely gone?
Diane, they're definitely highly likely to be gone. I would be shocked. I mean, there's absolutely no point in hanging on to those two players the way that the season is and trade deadline is going. The only thing I can think of with Canha is that he has a club option for next year, and the Mets like him. They love the way he plays the game. Who wouldn't? This guy is the best, the most solid baseball player you will ever see. If he does nothing, he doesn't do anything other than have a great eye at the plate that really jumps out at you as a skill, but he does everything well, from the way he plays left field to the way he runs the bases to the way he prepares. So you could sort of imagine the idea of picking up that club option and seeing him as a fourth outfielder type next year. But ultimately, I think those guys will be sent packing before tomorrow evening.
I agree with you, Andy. And I think it would be near malpractice if neither one of them got traded because, I mean, what are they doing on this club this year? And, you know, there are other opportunities in the winter, whatever, going forward that they should try to get anything that they can. Those were the guys that if they did a modified sell would have definitely gone also. But now that they've pushed it past that, they need to go as well. And that's no reflection on either player. Tommy Pham is a terrific offensive player who's really had a great year for the Mets and really wrested a role away for himself with the way he's played, and good for him. And as Andy said, Canha is, you know, beyond reproach with pretty much anything that he does. He's a very solid player. I feel like he's the potential to be a winning player on a winning team, which is why he would be attractive to a contender right now, which is why the Mets should be pursuing both deals heavily.
Yeah, absolutely. Andy, the Mets and Yankees did have talks about David Robertson. Could there be Yankees interest in any of the Mets outfielderships?
Pham and Canha are not plan A for the Yankees. They're the type of player that they want. But one complication is that the Yankees highly value defense in left field. Yankee Stadium's left field from
this year notwithstanding, Andy.
Well,
their left field defense has been horrendous, but you're right. They need to improve it. So you're right.
So Anthony, fair point. I am not saying they're receiving quality defense in left field. Thank you for helping me put a fine point on that. But I'm saying that when they seek to acquire left fielders, defense is extremely high priority. This is what appealed to them about Joey Gallo. This is why Brett Gardner was their left fielder for years. So what I was about to say was they actually have more square footage between the left field line and dead center than any ballpark in baseball. So they want range and speed, and Pham and Canha don't offer that. So I would say that they will go through other left field options first. And if it's deadline 6 p.m. tomorrow, if it's 5:45 and Brian Cashman hasn't found a taker for Pham and Canha, maybe he and Epler could talk at that point. But that's kind of how I see that playing out.
Yeah, Andy, which teams have you heard are interested in Pham and Canha potentially?
Good question. I don't think that's really clarified yet. I mean, I know they've gotten calls from the Dodgers. I know on both of those guys, there had been some dialogue with the Yankees, but classify it the way I just classified it. I'll say that the Max Scherzer trade took up a significant amount of the Mets' time in recent days. So Pham and Canha are the type of guys who those deals are pretty easy to pull off on deadline day, whereas Verlander are complex deals with no trades and the money and all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if that gets hot and heavy going forward, more so than it has with clubs. But definitely the Dodgers, Orioles. Let's see what else on those guys. I could see Toronto. But again, this is more speculative because it's been about the pitchers so far for the most part.
One more fan question from Sam Sports Talk from YouTube. Andy, we'll start with you. Will Ronny Mauricio come up once Canha and Pham are dealt?
Well, you got to sell tickets somehow. You think that what the Mets will have left in the last 2 months of the season is excitement for the future. Mauricio is the last guy up. They've already promoted the other players that were being demanded, and Beatty and Vientos. So, yes, I do think we'll see Ronny Mauricio later this season.
Yeah, Andy, I agree with you, and I think that they should call him up. To be quite honest, I talked to an executive from an opposing team yesterday about Mauricio, and he suggested the idea of calling him up really would be perfect because it gives him a chance in a developmental time to get some major league at bats. The coaching staff can sort of protect him if he's flailing a little bit at first. If he goes 0 for 20 to start, they can protect him with matchups, dictating the matchups initially. And this removes the idea of next spring training that there's all this Ronny Mauricio hype of he's got to make the team, you got to make the team, to where he's putting undue pressure on himself in spring training, which sometimes is not really a great barometer of where a guy is and in his career and in his development. Whereas if he's playing against teams that are pursuing something now in the last 2 months of the season, he's getting A stuff. He's not getting Joey Walnuts from AA, who's getting a little extra work in, when he bats in the 9th inning. He's coming in and he's facing somebody's closer in a game that the other team needs. So, he'll get the experience in games that count of teams adjusting to him and him having to adjust back, that little cat and mouse of baseball that has destroyed so many careers, frankly, because some guys can't make the adjustments. So we'll see if he can. He's a promising guy, still has some holes in his game, so much swing and miss. He had a great start, then he sort of leveled off. And then he's come on again to where every time you open up Twitter, he's hitting a 450-foot home run to win a game or something, doing something dynamic and athletic. I'd love to see it on the major league level. And this is a rare opportunity, if this is the way this season is going to go for the Mets, to get him up here.